This is the fourth video in the substitution series, and we're going to continue the problem that we started in the previous videos. So just as a quick review from the last video, we've talked about the 9 steps of a substitution problem, and just as a note, we have done several of the steps already. The first step was to actually get the animal's requirements. Step 1. The second step was to actually get all of our feed composition data. Just so you know, in most of these problems, I'll either guide you to the appropriate appendix table to get the requirements or give them to you. And as a reminder, we are working on an absolute basis, so all these requirements are in pounds per day. However, the nutrient composition is just the percentages of the nutrients in the feeds on a dry matter basis. Step 3 was to see if the forage alone was meeting the animal's nutrients needs, so we were checking forage only. And step 4 was looking for deficiencies. And what we found out in this problem is that we do have deficiencies for energy, protein, calcium, and phosphorus. And so we're going to start taking a look at how do we fix these deficiencies. So we're going to pick up this discussion with step 5. So let's bounce over to a whiteboard. Whoops, I just realized the text part of it's still there. Go to the whiteboard. And let's start with step 5. Step 5 is what we call the net gain. And what we're trying to talk about is what value do we get by substituting another feed for the forage. In this case, if you look at the table of data, the highest feed is the energy feed, which happens to be citrus pulp. So when we talk about net gain, let's take an example of we have 1 pound. Actually, let me make a little bit bigger square. Okay, 1 pound of the forage dry matter. Okay, we also have a pound, pretend these are the same size, 1 pound of dry matter from the citrus pulp. Okay, and so we have equivalent amounts, but within this 1 pound of forage dry matter, we know that we only have 54% of it is TDN, or 0.54 pounds. What I did for that is if you just take 1 pound times 0.54, that's going to give us how much of TDN that we have from the forage. Then on the flip side, if we take a look at the citrus pulp, we know that it's 79% TDN. So we're going to have 0.79 pounds of TDN coming from the citrus pulp. Now, when we talk about this net gain, we're already getting almost half a pound of TDN to come from the forage. So we aren't gaining that extra half a pound. What we're gaining is what we call the net gain, or the difference between the two. And let me diagram kind of what I mean. So when we look at the net gain, essentially this TDN that's already in that citrus pulp, we're not gaining it because we're already getting that same amount from our forage. However, if we take a look at this amount here, that is the difference between the two, that is how much energy we're really gaining from this forage. So to calculate the net gain, that is simply the difference between these two values. Okay, it's the difference. So we're going to take the 0.79 coming from citrus pulp minus the 0.54 pounds coming from the forage dry matter, so right here, and that gives us a difference, or a net gain, of 0.25 pounds. So what of TDN? So what that is saying, that for every 1 pound of dry matter that we replace forage with citrus pulp, we're gaining 1/4 of a pound of TDN. So that's how much we're going to gain above and beyond what we're already getting. And so that's what we're really after, is we're trying to fix an energy deficiency by adding in something that's higher in energy. And so we need to know how much we're gaining. So that's going to set us up. Once we have this net gain determined, turning my page. So the net gain is this number right here. What we're going to be able to do is go to step 6. Step 6 is to fix the TDN deficiency. We're going to fix that first deficiency that we've got. And so this goes back to an equation that we've seen several times. Do you remember when we talked about several weeks ago that if you have a need of some kind and you divide it by the concentration of a nutrient, that's going to give you the weight of, in this case, it'll give us our pounds of feed needed. So what we're going to do is we have a need. Our need in this problem is going to be the deficiency, and our nutrient concentration is the net gain. Okay, so that's like a decimal place. So for this problem, we had a deficiency of 0.66 pounds. We're going to divide that by 0.25, which was our net gain from the previous slide. By doing that, that tells us if we take 0.66 divided by 0.25, we need 2.64 pounds of dry matter from citrus pulp. We have just fixed our energy deficiency. That is step 6. We're going to go ahead and stop this video at step 6. The next video is going to pick up with step 7 that includes the reformulating and checking of it.